Federal agencies are working hard to improve their delivery of public services, especially in light of recent policy initiatives, including the White House executive order on transforming federal customer experience and service delivery. I'm Wyatt Cash with Scoop News Group, and here to talk about that today are Chris Johnston, Deputy Chief Technology Officer for Digital Experience in the Office of Information Technology at the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs, and Saqib Sheikh, Head of Strategy and Growth, Federal and Nonprofits at AWS. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us.
It's good to be here.
Thanks so much, Wyatt. It's great to be here.
So, Chris, I'm going to start with you. It's not like government leaders don't understand how to deliver digital services. And in many cases, they have their hands tied by a variety of regulations. I'd be interested to hear, what are some of the key factors that tend to limit the ability of government to meet the digital customer experience expectations of their constituents?
Yeah, it's a great topic. And as you said, technology is a part of it, but a lot of it comes down to people. We all have our foibles and our problems. A lot of it starts with law. Law is really prescriptive. It doesn't necessarily describe the problem that we're trying to get to, and it tells us exactly how we should go and implement a solution without really understanding why we're trying to do it. And then on the administration side, government is generally fairly risk averse. And so the people are trying to do whatever it is that Congress told them to do without necessarily stepping back and looking at the problem that we're trying to solve. And this is all in an environment in which there's, not often a lot of funding for the things that we're trying to do. There's limited resources for people or technology. There's competing priorities. You have some old technologies and systems that you're trying to blend with new processes. So it's a fairly complicated environment on top of that.
Well, and in light of that, I'm always impressed by the way public servants like yourself are able to push ahead anyway. Can you talk about maybe some of the examples of how VA has been able to overcome some of those challenges and make some headway for veterans?
Yeah, it's VA has really done a tremendous job on a number of levels, and it's been really trying to take this user focused, customer focused, veteran focused approach. Early on, there wasn't a lot of warm reception to the idea, so some of my predecessors had to come and rattle cages, as it were. Upset a few people trying to be able to do some things that now are just seem natural and as part of any modern software development cycle. And so that was important, right? And then the environment was right to allow the work that those who came before me to lay a groundwork for us to build on top of.
So, Saqib, what are some ways that modern technology has helped federal agencies, from your point of view, like the VA, overcome some of the challenges that Chris talked about?
So I think one of the biggest challenges we see with our federal customers is dealing with the explosion of digitized data that's out there. Data really is at the heart of designing and delivering exceptional citizen experiences, I think. So when we look to support our customers, we try to help them answer three fundamental questions. So one is, how well do you know me? Do you value my time? And can I trust you? Right? So to truly understand customers, we need to think about bringing together that data in scalable data stores with things like enterprise data lakes that help you pull different types of data in real time and normalizing that and serving that in a controlled way across the organization. To value the time of citizens, you need to take that data and do something with it, right? You need to generate insights using analytics, and you can use targeted applications of AI and machine learning to make smart recommendations and redirecting citizens through service journeys that make sense for them. For example, at the USCIS or State Department missions overseas, if you're applying for a visa and it's a situation where you've authenticated yourself recently, we can redirect those applicants to a less burdensome process that also saves time for case officers. Lastly, trust is key. There's a symbiotic relationship here. If citizens don't trust you with their sensitive data, we're not going to be able to provide them nuanced and frictionless services. One thing we're proud of, for example, is supporting the GSA with the launch of login.gov, which provides a single point of entry for services across government. That was built using the highest security standards from NIST and the Cybersecurity National Action Plan, and it scales. It scales to meet the demands of over 300 million citizens.
Fantastic. Back to you, Chris. What are some examples of how veterans and VA's employees have benefited from the implementation of new approaches and technology solutions?
Yeah, I'll ladder off of some of the things that Saqib was just saying here around data, it's a little bit of a complex web of thoughts. One of the big problems with a lot of federal agencies, VA in particular, because we're so large, is a lot of things end up getting implemented in a silo. So there's a law that gets passed, and the law says, you must provide this service. And so a program office gets stood up, and a program office creates a stack that delivers that service, not necessarily knowing that 40 other program offices have this, a fairly similar stack with the same kinds of data, right? So now we have 41 services that are collecting your address and your phone number and whatever other information that they need in order to provide the service. And then you go and you update one of those, and that one is updated, but the other 40 are out of date. So VA has tried to, and that's a problem that VA has had for a long time and is trying to address, and has addressed with a system we refer to as VA Profile, which creates a middleware layer that tries to aggregate all of those different data sources, so that when a veteran comes and updates, say, their contact information or their date of service, that information now propagates through all of these other data to these other data lakes or data warehouses, and it starts to look like VA is one organization to the veteran, even though we're really 3 administrations housing 400, 600 different program offices underneath it, right? That's the level of bureaucracy that the veteran never needs to see. One other great example I'll just mention, I'm sorry, if I could, on the same notion of data, is we have this philosophy that we're trying to implement, that we should never ask the veteran a question to which we already know the answer, right? They've already told us that before. Why are we interrogating them for information that we already have? So a recent example of this is with the healthcare application form. Part of the eligibility criteria has to do with income. And so there's a fairly complicated set of income questions. However, if you have a disability rating of 50% or higher, none of that matters. So why are we asking those questions if we're not even going to look at it? So the first thing we do now is, we know who you are, you've logged in, you're authenticated, we know that you're a veteran with a 50% or higher disability rating. We're just going to skip those questions. We're not going to interrogate you about things that we already know or we don't need.
Well, you certainly described, I think, a dilemma that most federal agencies wrestle with, which is lots of duplicate reservoirs of data, and how to better kind of pull all that together, make it a smarter choice for veterans. Saqib, back to you. So where have you seen technology capabilities and cloud computing in particular, really benefit federal employees and their efforts to serve citizens?
So we've been privileged in a couple places to support government through our partners. One example is Booz Allen Hamilton. We worked with them to support the Department of Interior in launching recreation.gov. It's an e-commerce platform that provides an Airbnb-like experience for over 4,000 federal spaces and over 100,000 facilities and activities. Talking about maintaining trust with citizens, part of that is ensuring that those services that are demanded at scale, that they have high uptime. Right. So we're actively working with Accenture Federal Services to help another agency re-architect their customer service platform so it can scale. They're anticipating over 10 million requests at launch. And it has to not only be up and scalable, it has to be accurate in processing requests. It has to be secure. Cloud really is an essential tool, I think, that brings together data. It helps deliver timely services at scale and provides that security layer that's foundational. And agencies don't really have to do it alone, right? We have over 100,000 partners in the AWS ecosystem. We have solution providers that bring the best of the commercial world. We have system integrators that can build at the mission criticality that government really needs. And then we have small businesses and fed techs that are a source of innovation. So we've been lucky to observe some of those applications in the federal space.
Well, in light of that, Chris, let's talk a little bit about what's next for VA, and where do you see technology continuing to help improve VA's customer service efforts in particular?
So much left to do. There's always a ton that's on the horizon. I alluded a little bit to it earlier. One of the things that we're marching towards is what has come to be referred to as the single digital front door, right? So one place where veterans and their families can come to learn about apply for, track, and manage their benefits, again, without having to know which program office and which administration within the agency is responding to that. One of the big things that we've seen, of course, is an ongoing march towards mobile. More than 50% of visitors to VA websites are doing so on a mobile device, and we need to be able to embrace that more and more, making sure we're meeting users where they are. Last year, VA launched a flagship native mobile application called the VA Health and Benefits app, which is in your pocket access to some of the most common transactions that veterans do over and over and over again, like checking status of a claim or sending secure messages to their care team, being able to download letters for proof of status, that kind of thing. And so these are the kind of things that we want to make sure that we are continuing to add and deliver as part of the overall customer experience goals.
A lot to do for sure, but certainly sounds like you're on the right track. Finally, Saqib, what should federal agencies kind of be on the lookout for from AWS these days when it comes to trying to accelerate their digital modernization and customer service efforts?
Well, there's some targeted solutions that I'm particularly excited about. We have a solution called Amazon Connect, which is a digitized virtual call center. We have Pinpoint that brings together data to have targeted outreach to citizens in a digital way. And what's really exciting is we also have reInvent around the corner next week. It's our largest customer event each year. We're constantly inventing on behalf of our customers, and we're looking to make technology more easily accessible and usable for government at the lowest price possible. I'm looking forward to seeing some of those exciting announcements next week and bringing that innovation back, and through our partners supporting government and delivering on that promise of better citizen experience. I also think, we're about to enter a volatile and challenging economic environment. I think it's an opportunity for us. It's an opportunity for government to lead the way, and I'm excited to see what the future brings.
Well, in the event this airs just after reInvent, what are the dates on that? And will the federal community be able to tune in after the fact?
Yes, so it's next week from November 28th to December 2nd, and it will also be available virtually. So people who are not able to make it in person, they can track online.
Fantastic. Well, Chris Johnston and Saqib Sheikh, thank you so much for taking a few minutes to share your insights on ways that modern technologies truly helping federal agencies improve the delivery of customer services. So thank you both for being with us.
Thank you.
It's great speaking with you, Ryan. Thanks so much.